Rachel, do you think that I mean, what do you think? Is that a potential that we'll get? I know you don't want to speculate about the future here, but I mean, could this get wrapped up in a March in a funding bill?
Well, it's certainly, I think given the March 14th deadline and all of the fiscal dominoes to fall throughout this year, not only, of course, including the debt limit, but of course, the larger tax negotiations over the expiration of the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, which was a principal, in Trump administration, first administration priority, and legislative achievement. A lot that could be in the mix. I think right now it's a day by day situation on Capitol Hill, within each party and across both parties as they negotiate. But I do think that the debt limit is going to become, as it does each year, a central negotiating factor, and it's going to require bipartisan support. I think with the slim majorities that we see in the House, they are going to rely, they're going to need to rely on Democrats to either raise or further suspend the debt limit this year. But what we know right now is that the Treasury Department started deploying extraordinary measures last month. They have about $700 billion in cash on hand and about $355 billion in these extraordinary measures. So these accounting procedures that are available to them to pause or withhold some federal reinvestments to ensure that they can borrow to sufficiently remain, under the federal debt limit. But we are at the start of tax season. We need to see how fast tax refunds get, tax filings come in and refunds go out. We need to look at the strength of individual income revenues and corporate tax receipts. And we also need to understand the pace at which disaster recovery spending is going out the door. And so these are some pretty large variables that were very consequential in the 2023 episode, where individual income tax returns uh, were quite substantially lower. I think the revenue that we saw during tax season was about $250 billion below CBO estimates through April at that time. So, and then of course overlaid with that, the natural disasters that we've seen most recently, of course, with the horrific wildfires out of California. A lot of variables in the mix that we are tracking here at the Bipartisan Policy Center truly on a daily basis, but certainly look forward to coming back on the show with more updates as we look ahead to the spring and summer months.
Well, you know what a little score indicator on this is the cash balance that the Treasury has, because they're right now they're drawing down cash as they're doing these extraordinary measures. But one thing that they can rely on is the cash balance, which I think was somewhere around 700,
So yeah,
yeah,
700 billion this
700
period,
billion. Yeah.
notably around 450 billion in 2023. So, it would, all numbers are relative, but a larger cash balance than they had in previous episodes, recent episodes. So, we will be estimating here at BPC where the period of time where we think the Treasury Department might find itself in a crunch. What we have
And where it gets hair raising, I remember last time it got down to like 23, was it 23 billion or yeah, it was very, very, that's small in the federal government.
I can't remember the exact figure where we were looking at, but it was certainly Congress needed to act within days, and that is what they did. We have certainly had close calls over the past decade when it comes to addressing the debt limit in a timely manner. But this is obviously an issue where all
Yeah,
eyes are watching, not only in the United States but across the world. Global
yeah, because
investors.
people don't realize it's not a real predictable thing.
But it's an
You know, on
extraordinarily solvable thing. This
yeah,
is a
oh, it's very
political
solvable.
choice
Yeah, yeah,
to
yeah.
make do on our past obligations and then to ensure that we are able to borrow that we have the borrowing capacity to do so. So this would be, not addressing this in time would be political malpractice.
Yes, absolutely. A self-inflicted wound, no doubt.